What's going on, fam? Alex Schlinsky here for the Anti-Hustler Weekly Show. Today, we're going to be talking about quick wins and how to make new money leveraging limited time offers. This is a really important training to help you make more money starting right now, this moment, today, however long it takes you really just to implement, which is like maybe 30 minutes. So you can make money as fast as 30 minutes after you watch this, which would be like 30 minutes. So like an hour from right now, you can make money. Bam. You're welcome. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Brian Downard. How are you doing, buddy?
Living the dream.
Hey, Brian, tell us about limited time offers, quick wins, and how to make more money.
Yeah, just building on some of what Alex Hormozi's been teaching and $100 million offers, not crazy, stupid guarantees. I'm not a big fan of those, but in the theme of making offers that people feel stupid saying no to, I think there's in that thought process a lot to be learned because it allows you to, if you have this maybe self-limiting belief around not being really good at sales or like, I'm not good at asking for money. I've seen a number of people in our new community, Alex, bring that up. Like, I'm afraid to ask for money. So something you can do, again, everyone comes from different walks of life. You got to learn and lean into some of these things that are uncomfortable. One of the things you can do to make it really easy is come up with offers that make people feel stupid saying no to. And I don't want you to have to do massive discounts or give anything away for free. There may be a time and place for that. We'll discuss later. But the idea of a limited time offer, acronym LTO, would be something you can do to either add value or potentially discount, maybe remove some value for that discount to get someone who's on the fence to jump, to take action and to take advantage of your offer. This is even more important if you are in a beginning stages of your business trying to acquire your first clients because you need to have an offer around what you are selling. Because if you just try and go full price right away, it's going to be very difficult to get people to trust you, commit to that. So learning how to leverage these at the right time and place in your business is important. Alex, I'd love to kind of kick over to you. What is the difference between making someone an offer and then just the service that you sell? Because you have a service, you know what it costs, but how do you turn that into an offer?
Yeah, I think the first thing to do is not to lean into any self-fulfilling prophecies related to I'm not good at sales, I don't know how to ask for money, I'm afraid of rejection. All of those stipulations in your mind when you play that game ultimately withholds you, and precludes you from really actually being able to make any money as an entrepreneur. Like when you say that, oh, I'm not capable of asking for money or I'm uncomfortable with it, you're automatically giving up. Right? You're just literally straight up giving up. I think the concept that you have to come down to is, do you really believe that the service you are providing and the offer you're going to be making is of value to someone else? Think of it this
Mm.
way, right? In a general sense, everyone, right, is selling you something at all the time, right? Whether it's convincing you to give them their time, like we're doing with this podcast, they're offering you a product that they have, they're trying to sell you on the sushi roll, they're trying to get you to go out with their daughter, or you're trying to convince the dad to let you go out with their daughter as well. The whole concept of life is convincing one another, excuse me, about some sort of product or thing or exchange of information. Just in sales, right? In this format, there has to do with money, right? But money is not like the end all be all. It's not the only asset we have, right? Our time is even more valuable than our money. And so I think the relationship that you have with money is potentially withholding you and precluding you from being able to sell effectively because you're saying that you're worried about how it's going to come across. What you have to do is come from a place of belief, from care, from the knowledge and acknowledgement that you actually are able to help someone if they were to pay you money, right? If they were able to pay you money, you would be able to provide for them and support them. And so offers, right? Actually volleying an offer to someone saying, I want you to do this, or I think this is the right fit for you, or it's $2,500 a month. Do you want this, right? All of those frames come down to a deep-rooted belief that you can actually help them get the result that you're promising. Otherwise, you're a charlatan and a con artist, which, look, there's plenty of them in the space, but I'm assuming if you're watching this show, you follow us, you're not one of those people. And so if you really are a person of good nature and goodwill and you really care about the person you're speaking to, it's not only important that you make an offer, it's also your duty. And I think that is an important consideration. It is your requirement, your responsibility, not just as a business owner that's trying to make money as well, but as a person who's trying to deliver value to your prospect. And if you don't take that as both an honor and as a duty, then I'm just going to say it pretty bluntly, you're just not cut out to be an entrepreneur. And when I say you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur, it seems a little sanctimonious, but I mean more so you're not cut out to actually make an impact on people's lives and actually do the required job to get paid by someone. That's what offers are. You have to come from a place of confidence and belief and ultimately know that you're going to do everything it takes to get the result for them so you can feel confident in the initial ask, in the initial tell to have them pay you.
Yeah, I love that. When you guys are looking at your services and air quotes offers, as we've been working more with people in the service as a software space, we see this like almost a crutch of leaning on selling features and what we do. We have, look at this laundry list of things we can do for you. And at the end of the day, you shouldn't be selling based on features. You need to be selling based on the value you bring to someone, like Alex is saying. And if you're not confident in that value yet, yeah, maybe doing your service for free or at cost, if you have someone doing the fulfillment for you, which you should, is smart. So you can learn and find your value. Then your ceiling of what you can charge increases because of the value of what you can bring to those people you serve. And I love the idea of like, if you look at your offers or your value ladder in terms of like, let's use aviation travel as just the example because it's kind of easy to understand. Everyone is trying to go to the same place. Like you're going to fly from Detroit to Florida, but you can fly coach, you can fly first class, you can fly business class, you can fly private. You're all going to the same place, but the level of service is different, right? So kind of look through it like that lens. You don't have to sell different outcomes, but the offers you can create around that outcome can be different levels of service to achieve it. And in the marketing space, those different levels are typically do it yourself, self-serve, done with you and or done for you. So you got to kind of have pick your poison here a little bit because there's pros and cons to each and every one. But then once you pick that, you can understand how to structure the promise and the outcome for your offer around that, not just the things you're doing, because they don't care what you're doing. They want the outcome. So let's get into the training today around limited time offers. I'm a huge believer of funnel hacking. Basically, the phrase means going and doing research on what other people are doing. So, good news is there's a lot of marketing agencies, there's a lot of service as a software companies. Go do, first of all, your own internal research. When I say internal research, have you done any limited time offers in the past? Have you done anything on Black Friday or for a new offer that worked really well? We are experimenting with a trial for one of our new offers. It's working incredibly well. It's a limited time offer, but it's getting a lot of people to jump into a new product because of the perceived value against what our offer is that we're making for a limited time. So one of the first things is just look back at what has worked for you before. How can we do more of that and plan to do it again? And then if you haven't done anything yourself, do some research. Look to other agencies out there. Scroll back into their news feeds. What offers are they making on Black Friday? What's getting the most engagement? What ads have they run during those times, during the end of the year, beginning of the year? There's lots of different milestones, air quotes, throughout the year that you can anchor an offer against. Totally depends on your business. Outside of the marketing space, I used to work in patio furniture, and you can bet your ass every summer holiday, 4th of July, Memorial Day, etc., they're doing a big offer. They're doing some kind of big sale because it coincides with timing that makes sense. So for your agency, what is those timing triggers that make sense? Typically, it's going to be end of year, beginning of year, after tax season, probably into the summer months as well. So just kind of consider the seasonality of your product and when making limited time offers makes the most sense. And maybe it's you save your limited time offers for the slow seasons. You know, crap, attorney business is really slow in the summer. I need to pull out of my war chest the limited time offers I can use there. So anything else, Alex, you want to add around the kind of the research or finding good ideas before we get into some examples here?
Yeah, I love it. And I think one consideration that you guys can have is trying not to do the limited time offers at the same time that everyone else is doing the limited time offers, right? Because then there's becomes a saturation of said limited time offers. Like obviously Black Friday, like Brian was talking about, Cyber Monday, like these are very common Christmas holiday ones. But maybe you can curate one that's totally nuanced and different altogether, completely unique to you. Because at the end of the day, like Cyber Monday and Black Friday are contrived, made up things. They're made up, right? You don't have to buy into the market and do the same thing that everyone else is doing. Now, of course, there is more of a buying frenzy in that day, but in a general sense, like if you have an audience and a market in which they need your products, if you can sell them something in a limited time offer, for whatever reason, you can make it up. Oh, the March 7th special deal. It doesn't have to be anything related to any sort of holiday or any sort of connection outside of just you chose to make it a limited time offer for whatever reason. at whatever date. And I think you actually have a huge benefit to not wait, and doing it at the same time as everyone else, I think is a big, big thing.
Yeah, and just this year specifically, because we are in a political cycle in the United States, the cost of advertising is going to skyrocket come Q3 and Q4. So you're already competing against other people's Black Friday advertisements and the noise, but also now the insane budgets of political parties, regardless of what you care or like, that you're just going to be competing against, right? So it's important to understand that and anticipate and have things you can pull out, like I said, of your war chest. So let's talk about some of the different places where this might make sense to leverage a limited time offer. The very first place to me is always going to be re-engaging churned or past clients. There's a saying out there where the easy, not even a saying, but there was research done where it's 7 times more profitable and easier to keep a current client than it is to go find new clients. We need to have a balance of both, no doubt. The people who gave you money before are the most likely to give you money again and or refer you to people who can like you and trust you. And again, that trust and likability is transferred. So always starting with those people. So 2 types of limited time offers you can use for past or churned clients. One, you could call it a welcome back offer, which could be a version of an offer we call love it or leave it. Or maybe you offer them a temporary discount for their first month back or 2 months back to get them to a place where they feel good. Or by the third or fourth month, they're rolling back into the main price. So that could be a really great way to go back to past customers, like, hey, let me earn your business back. Let me show you what we're doing here that could work really well. And then get them to have that limited time of a little bit of a discount. And again, we'll talk about discounting versus adding value a little later, but the idea of welcome back and having some sort of offer around a welcome back offer is key. Building on that, if you are adding any additional features or services to your repertoire, if you will, is that a French word? I don't even know. I like it though. It sounds fancy.
You
Um,
nailed it.
if you are adding new things to your offering, going back to past clients and bringing that up as a foot in the door offer again to get them to want to sign up. Maybe it doesn't even have discount or add value. You just share with them the new thing that you're doing and that express it would make sense for them, and you can cut them X deal on that to kind of circle back. But to me, if you have a new feature, something like say Zappy Chat, where it's a very simple add-on where you're adding to your service, but can make a huge difference in the success. Or even if it's a totally new service, we had a client who she pivoted from offering Facebook ads to Google ads and was able to retain a lot of clients who were going to churn and bring back old clients because the new platform worked that much better. So in that case, it wasn't even a limited time offer. It was just making an offer to the right people because you have new information, new assets that make the offer more valuable to the people who already paid you.
Every single month in POD, when we have available space, so on average, we work with no more than 50 people at a time, just because that's how we operate our mentorship community in
In
order
the
to
inner
have
circle programs, we've opened
inner
up the gates
circle.
a bit wider for
Yeah.
the lower ones.
In the inner circle, it allows us to give more hand-holding support and one-to-one support that's really like unmatched in the space. But in general, we don't always have 50 clients on our roster at all times. And so every month, maybe every other month, we're always going to have a one-liner email that's like, hey, do you want to grow your agency by $10,000 in recurring revenue in the next 90 days or less? We have 3 spots available for POD mentorship. You have to be making this amount of money. Let us know if you're open to a assessment, and we'll break down your business and talk about it, right? Like we do that on average, probably 6 to 10 times a year, depending on where we're at in our business. And that single email has brought us so many prospects and sales conversations and people that have actually joined POD because it's a limited time in terms of scarcity and urgency. There's this amount of time available to make this decision, and we only have this amount of space. And it's real urgency and scarcity. And that's one of the things I really want to make sure we leverage today, right? Brian, not referencing or recommending to make up fake urgency or fake scarcity. Doing that is contrived and ultimately puts you in a bad spot because in an ethical framework, you end up feeling not super comfortable about making that sale. And then it's kind of awkward and feels weird, et cetera. Do it with actual reason behind the urgency or scarcity so that you'll actually have a better chance to close the deal.
Love it, 100%. So the next kind of group or category of people who could make sense to make limited time offers to would be hot, air quotes hot, and or on the fence leads, right? Your best opportunities who you have right there who are like, oh, I need to think about it. I like this, but I'm not quite ready. I just need to think about it. All of those leads, this is where I prefer, instead of discounting, to add value. Give them a little additional thing to bridge the gap for them to make it make sense to take action now. And one of the easiest things and phrases you can use is VIP day, right? It doesn't literally have to be a full-blown day. It doesn't even have to be in person, right? But giving them a little extra time at the front end of their agreement will, in their brain, shorten the time to result, which is a huge part of their consideration. How quickly am I going to get this result? And if you can add additional value, maybe it's in the form of a VIP day or an additional small service that you normally charge for, but you know by just adding this, it doesn't cost you much more time and fulfillment or money, but could move them closer to making a decision. This is where I tend to like to add value instead of discounting. But Alex, you being, one of the top sales coaches, if not the in the space, what's your opinion on engaging your most active and hot, if you will, leads to get them to come over the finish line?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of sanctimonious coaching about like don't discount, fair price is full price, and that kind of stuff. And I get it, right? But I think lines in the sand are very much lines in the sand, meaning like a little bit of a wave will just wash that line away, right? This isn't a hard line. It's not black or white. It's much more areas of gray, right? And I think at the end of the day, when you run a business, a SaaS business, a coaching product, an agency business, you have the benefit of being the owner and operator to kind of dictate the terms, right? And so at the end of the day, a lot of people clutch at pearls at their prices because they think it's a worthwhile thing, but then they recognize that they're unable to make the close happen. And I think there's some consideration that really should be considered here, right? That was not great English, but think of it this way, okay? If your price of your product is $2,500 a month, right? I hold the calculator here. If it's $2,500 a month, all right, and you have 10 sales calls and you close 2 of those 10, you made $5,000, okay? But what if the price of your product was $2,000 and instead of closing of that 10, you closed 4 instead of 2, right? And so you close 4, that's $8,000 in revenue. Now, obviously, there's going to be profitability concerns and fulfillment concerns, et cetera. But I think sometimes you have to be more cognizant of what is the price that fits the market and your profit best, and not feeling 100% adhering to the responsibility of this is the full price. I cannot change it. I won't change it. And the reality is it's uncomfortable for me to express this coaching because a lot of the times, the majority of people we're speaking to, including people that are live on this session right now, we're doing the exact opposite. We're like, raise your prices. But let's consider that that's because they're on average offering things under $500, under $1,000. Like what we're talking about is if you're pricing at $2,500 or more in the marketplace and you're having a hard time growing, there's not a problem with having a discounted rate once or twice, but you have to be upfront and transparent with your prospect because then they feel like they are being price gouged. So if you go to someone and they're like, Brian, how can you suddenly offer me a 50% discount? Is that how much you're gouging me? And it's like, no, it's actually not the case. In fact, it's the exact opposite. I'm not going to make any money on the initial 2 months that we're working together, but I am so incredibly confident that we're going to deliver you the results that by the time the 3rd and 4th and 8th and 12th and 17th month kick in and you're paying the normal price, you're going to be more than happy to pay that because of the ROI I'm providing to you. And that's how I'm going to make my money. So I'm considering this kind of a cost per acquisition. And what you're doing is leveraging transparency in your sales conversations for someone to feel much more comfortable to say, oh, he's not trying to get one by me. He's just trying to come up with a new offer to get me inside, and it's working because I'm going to come and try this out. And that's the model. It's the same thing with Agency Alliance. We've been offering a $7 intro to it. Do we make any money on $7? Of course not. We're paying coaches significantly more than that to be a part of the Agency Alliance. But what we do know is the value that we're providing by the time that the 297 hits, of course it's going to be a no-brainer and people are going to want to continue. Everyone? No, not everyone, but a higher percentage than what we hope would be the case if we just did only 297 because we're going to get more people in. And that's the same concept. So hopefully that makes sense to y'all.
Yeah, and really adopt this mindset that people who pay with their time now will pay with their money later. So I'm going to skip over just really briefly the warm and stale leads and talk just a moment for like, what if it's like a brand new offer? You haven't really brought it to market. It's untested, right? I'm a huge fan of doing very low ticket paid trials, especially for SaaS. If we're talking high ticket marketing services, you need to do that at cost. Don't go into your own pockets to make this happen. They need to cover ad spend if that's a requirement of your service as well. But being okay to just break even for a little bit to again prove your value, understand what you can do to then get them to a place where they're a paying customer. And what's great is the people who do it for free or a lower rate, they not only become customers themselves, they also leave you testimonials, which you can use and leverage to acquire more customers. And they also refer you to other customers. So again, if you are struggling to get your initial people signed up the ante, up the no-brainerness of that. I know that's not a phrase, of your offer to make it impossible for people to say no to it, right? So I skipped over warm and stale leads. I'm going to circle back to that because this is one of my favorite places to use what we call a Leoli or a loyalty rate. What is a Leoli? A Leoli, it's a hard one to say, is a love it or leave it offer. Let me give you an example. Alex and I joined a mentorship program that costs $5,000 a month. In order to get people in, they allowed people to do a love it or leave it version of that product. Now, they weren't going to do like a $7 trial. It's not that kind of program. It's a very high touch mentorship program, right? So it doesn't make sense to do that. What they did, don't quote me on the exact numbers. I'm going to give you a ballpark, but I believe it was $1,500 for the first month and $3,000 for the second month. So all in $4,500 for the first 2 months, covers their expenses, pays their team. Then once we love the program, they roll you into the $5,000 price point. But it's a really good way, again, to get someone who is more or less warm or stale back on the radar, make them a limited time offer that's a no-brainer. Like, hey, I want to make this easy and a no-brainer for you to hop in. Would you be open to doing what we call a love it or leave it offer, where you can test it out for 2 months at a discounted rate? You can choose what that rate is based on the product or the cost to deliver your service. Then in the third month, roll them into the normal price point. Or a loyalty rate. I love the loyalty rate example, and I'm going to actually share my screen here for just a moment because a picture is worth 1,000 words. And this is one of the things I refer to often with clients. If you have, this would be something you should have probably brought up with this prospect before, or would need to be baked into how you run your business in general. But let's say the rate you want to charge is $2,500. So give them and sell your product at the $2,500 price point if they commit to a minimum time, right? 6 months is just an example, and there can be no startup fee. But traditionally, let's say you had been making an offer to someone who didn't jump. They're still kind of hanging on the fence. They're floating out there, and you quoted them, hey, at this price, with this startup fee, no commitment. You can go back to them with a loyalty rate of a slightly discounted version of that for a commitment to time. So I love these two versions, love it or leave it offers, and the loyalty rate offers for those warm and on the fence leads. So that was kind of in a nutshell, like what you can do to leverage limited time offers publicly or to past clients, warm leads, cold leads, new offers. What I want to encourage you guys to do as we're wrapping up this workshop, and then we'll open it up to some Q&A, is how do we commit to more? How do we do more, right? And one of my favorite takeaways from one of the books I read recently was this phrase, new, more, better. And this applies to lead gen and offers. So let me explain. What does it mean? New means adding in additional channels. If you're doing Facebook outreach right now, cool. You should do something new. You should also add on maybe Instagram, maybe LinkedIn, maybe cold email, but do something new in addition to. Same thing with offers. If your offers aren't really clicking, try a new offer. It doesn't mean you change your service. Maybe potentially, like I said, one of our clients pivoted from Facebook ads to Google ads. That might be it, but often it's just how you're repackaging and framing the value. So testing new offers, same deliverables, same promise, different offers. More is this idea of offer it more, offer to more people, increase the volume of what you are doing. So if you are doing email marketing or you're doing Facebook outreach, how do you do 2x, 3x, 10x? What is the thing that it will allow you to do more of that? Same thing with the offers. How can you continue to make and test new, different limited time offers and make more of them? And then better, if we're looking at through the lens of lead gen, how can you optimize what you're doing? How can you look at data to make improvements? Same thing with your offers. Once you start to make offers, going back and looking at the data of what worked will inform you to how to make it better, how to improve it for the next time. So live through that lens in terms of your lead gen and your offers. New, more, better. And again, if you are not getting people to take you up on your offers, up the ante, make it a no-brainer until they say yes. And then you can start to increase that ceiling of your price once you understand the value you can bring to your market. And that I felt like was a mic drop. Here, I'll do this thing. There you go. It's
We'll
gonna
wrap
fly
with
away
this.
from me now. That was
We'll wrap
stupid.
with this. And we say this every week. Look, we do this show every single week, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, live on Zoom, live inside our Facebook group, and you can get all the replays in our replay vault. We are providing insight and value every single week for you to implement to make money. The question is, are you coming and listening, or are you coming and implementing? That's the differentiator. This is a non-starter if you do nothing with it. If you take a bunch of insight from Brian or Alex or whomever else online and do nothing with it, and then you wonder, why is it not working? It's not because you don't have the right tools or tactics or models. It's because you're not doing it. The best tool is the one that is utilized. That's the key. There's not a better hammer if it's an AI technological hammer that ensures every time you hit the exact spot. A regular hammer is significantly better than that if you use it. And that's the key. And that's the mic drop. Appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you, Brian. Excellent job today. We will see you next week, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, right here in this group. And if you are not part of it yet, come join us in the Agency Alliance. We are offering a $7 free trial to get started. $7 free trial doesn't make sense, by the way, that I
30
just
day.
allowed. 30-day, $7 trial. That was what I was trying to say, but you get the point. We'll drop the links here below so you can join us, and we will see you on the next one.